Welcome to my channel, guys. Today, we will take you on a journey to the Al-Darle Governorate in Yemen, where we will learn about a horrific and touching story. A story that takes place in 1975, about a simple young man named Salem, peace be upon you, in Al-Darle Governorate in Yemen. In the year 1975, there was a young man named Salem. Salem came from a very simple family and worked hard to find a job, especially since he hadn't completed his studies. He managed to find a craft in buying and selling agricultural materials and other items. When his situation started to improve, he asked his mother to find him a suitable wife. She suggested a beautiful, young girl from their relatives named Qadria, from his mother's family. Salem agreed, saying the most important thing was that she should be willing to live with them in the same house because he couldn't afford a separate home at that time. His mother said it wouldn't be a problem, so they proceeded with the proposal. Qadria agreed, and they got married. In the first year, she got pregnant and gave birth to a boy named Samir. But in the second year, it turned out that Qadria had cancer, which was widespread and aggressive. She passed away soon after, leaving Salem deeply saddened, especially since he now had a 1-year-old son who needed a mother and care. Salem's elderly mother and his sisters, who had their own families and responsibilities, couldn't take care of Samir, making the situation more challenging. 3 months after his wife's death, his mother told him that life must go on and that his son needed a mother and he needed a wife. Though he was hesitant and fearful of how things would turn out, he agreed. His mother started looking for a suitable wife who would accept Samir as her own. After much searching, they chose a woman named Hafsa. No matter how hard you search for a good woman, if fate isn't on your side, it won't work out. Hafsa turned out to be the worst choice. Salem married Hafsa, and she promised to treat Samir as her own son. However, over time, Salem noticed that Samir was suffering from malnutrition and neglect. Salem was often out working and didn't know what was happening at home. His elderly mother couldn't keep up with the situation either. Eventually, it became clear that Hafsa was abusing Samir, beating him whenever he cried. The boy became fearful and silent, understanding that any noise would lead to more abuse. Salem's mother tried to warn him, but he dismissed her concerns. Thinking that Hafsa was caring for Samir in his presence, when his mother passed away and Hafsa bore him 2 more children, Salem continued to notice the disparity in treatment between Samir and his half-siblings, Sabir and Aisha. Samir was always neglected and sickly, while the others were well cared for. Samir's maternal aunt started to take a closer interest in his well-being. She asked Salem to let Samir live with her, but he refused, thinking Samir was adequately cared for at home. As time went on, the aunt began secretly helping Samir, giving him tasks in her cat plantation and paying him. Samir started earning money and buying his own clothes and food, keeping his income hidden from Hafsa. As Samir grew older, his aunt suggested that he build a house next to his father's, using his savings. Salem approved, and Samir constructed a house where the family eventually moved. Samir became a well-known cat trader, respected and successful, largely due to his aunt's support. One day, Hafsa accused Samir of inappropriate behavior, claiming he tried to assault her. Salem, blinded by rage and convinced by Hafsa and his other children, beat Samir and threw him out of the house. Samir, injured and heartbroken, went to his aunt, who comforted him and gave him her cat plantation.
Samir continued his business, prospering even more. His aunt found him a good wife, and they married. His wife encouraged him to reconcile with his father, which he eventually did. When he returned, he found his family in dire straits. His father was old and sick, his brother Samir was a delinquent, and his sister and stepmother were begging in the streets. Samir took charge of the family, forbidding them from begging and providing for their needs. Despite his efforts, Samir remained a troublemaker. Hafsa, seeing Samir's success, plotted against him, convincing Samir to frame Samir's wife for infidelity, hoping to drive Samir to kill her and get rid of him. One night, as Samir returned home, he found a masked man, Samir, fleeing from his wife's room. Hafsa falsely accused Samir's wife of infidelity. In a fit of rage, Samir almost believed it but decided to investigate further. The story reveals the manipulative nature of Hafsa and the struggles Samir endured, eventually triumphing over his adversities and finding peace and success despite the challenges posed by his stepmother.